following is KPB Media Works production.
Choose your fighter.
And we are on. Welcome to another episode of KPBCast, guys. Returning to the show after, I don't know, how was it, man? Maybe last year. We have Lukus Allen, man, the owner, operator, president of LDA Gaming. Good sir, how the heck are you?
I'm doing good, man. Trying to get back for Evo and motivate Peru and stuff to start playing these games, and because they're real talented. But I'm sure we're going to get into that very shortly. So, how you been?
Not bad, man. Guys, before we go on, you know the podcast is available on all the major platforms. Just check up KPBCast, like it, subscribe it, do all the good stuff. We try to bring great guests like Lukus on for your entertainment, and here we go, man. You just said right now you're trying to get back into the whole thing with Evo. What's that all about? You trying to get the boys down from Latin America to come up here whenever Evo comes back?
Yeah, because as everyone's saying, I mean, I've been saying it for a while, but they have a lot of skill. I was hoping people will see that with the whole 2002 thing. But I feel like 2002 has played its course now. So it's time to get them to play other games. Like you see what Bala did. You see what Mysterio have done at KOF 13. So it's time to get them to see all these other games besides just KOF. So I want them to see Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. There's about a good 20 or so years in between 2002 and now of games that they just didn't get. They just didn't get to see. So that's kind of what Project Avengers is. I want them to see not just KOF. I want them to see everything, all these games in between. And I swear to God, I did not plan for these games to get on Fightcade. It just so happened to be where the timing was perfect. Where as I was training them in an offline, all of a sudden they announced that Thomas Wave was going to be on Fightcade. So it just happened to way perfect.
That's like some of the best news ever. God bless the people who, well, they're not modding the games, but they're basically adding add-ons. And the fact that, Fightcade, what is it? They added all, like, NetPlay has been upgraded so much from what we first knew. And, I mean, these games, they're just as good as GGPO rollback netcode. The fact that, people could play KOF 11... First of all, I love that game. It's so much fun. Yeah, I know it's a broken mess, but I play fighting games just for fun. I don't really play them that competitively anymore. But KOF 11, man, I've always said that is such a beautiful game. It's hectic as all crazy. It's just so much fun. And now that, like you said, the Outermost Wave games, all these games are being added on. It's basically opening up the doors for these guys and girls to, just get off of 2K2. And since we're on that subject, let me ask you this. Recently, I know 2K2 had the rollback netcode added on to the Steam version. Are any of the people down in Mexico, Peru, all those places down there, have they actually tried it? Or is it because the arcade scene is still kind of popular down there that that's the reason why they do not let go of 2K2? How has the with the rollback been, received in those countries?
They're just not getting around to it. I kind of have to lead the charge because of what you said earlier. They're so ingrained with the old school arcade machine, how that mentality, that a lot of them don't leave it. So I kind of have to. That's why that's kind of what Project Avengers is. When I show it to them in a different light, they start to see it and they're like, well, if he's promoting, there must be something to it. So I kind of use that to show them these games, and that's how I went to go to Neo Wave, 2002 I show Peru playing them, so people say, ooh, Peru's playing in there. They're like the GOATs in 2002. So I always try to show them playing 2002 and stuff, even offline. And, that way they'll get comfortable enough to try it on netcode. Because I don't think they're comfortable enough yet to where they'll feel comfortable playing it on Fightcade, because it's still a relatively new game to them because they just started playing it probably a couple months ago.
So, I mean, do you think within the year, maybe 2 years, you might get enough people playing that version of 2K2 with the rollback netcode where they may finally leave 2K2? But like we said already, man, it's just too ingrained into their culture, at least their video game culture, right?
Yeah, they won't necessarily leave 2002. It's not going. It's like even 98. It's dying over time. Less and less. The scene is dying. But that's because, we aren't doing as much. So there's still people trying to do stuff. But we did stuff on another level. So with that being said, now that I'm not really doing anything with 2002, it is starting to die a little bit. But I think in about 2 years, if I keep, as I continue to promote it and do what I actually really want to do when I come back as an organizer, hopefully beginning next year, I'll be able to give it the respect that it deserves. Like I'm trying to show Neo Geo Battle Coliseum right now as I've shown even Neo Wave, the game that people talk so badly about, trying to show other parts about that, and even Samurai Showdown 6, I'm trying to show that in a different light, and KOF 11. I think we could do the same thing with 2002 UM. We just got to keep showing it, keep playing it, and then more people are going to continue to do it like they're doing. They're seeing how great Battle Coliseums are now. They're saying it's great. Let me tell you a quick story. When Benny in Peru first saw Battle Coliseum, he didn't like it because he played SVC Chaos, and we're getting him playing it. I said, bruh, you're going to want to play this game. Trust me. It's a great game. You're going to like it, Benny. So they actually started liking it, and now, lo and behold, he loves the game. So that's the type of stuff you got to do. And they can't wait because these are all new games to them that they never got to play. So,
well, it's like you said in our first episode, man. We sometimes got to remember. I mean, Mexico is like it might as well be like the USA to Peru. Some of those guys down there are like very poor countries.
Absolutely.
So the fact of the matter is that these games were never readily available, and that's the one thing I appreciate what you do, and you're very well aware of this. Everybody always thought that the whole fighting game community revolved around Japan and America. Sometimes you have Canada and everything like that, and mainly because KOF is not as powerful, or SNK games are not as powerful here. They have their following, don't get me wrong. But sometimes it was so easy to forget. You know, these guys and girls down in these countries, they don't have access as easy as we do. So for you to introduce these games to all these people, to them, it's like, hey, listen, maybe you're going to be converting some of them soon. It's like, man, I could finally leave 2K2 for, greener pastures. It seems like you said so far, it seems to be working. And by the way, real quick, Matt, can you blame some people for not liking Neo Wave? Hey, listen, I like Neo Wave. It's a fun little game, but when you see Angel and the glitch again, the Infinite is like, yeah, no thank you, man.
Yep.
Young Geese is awesome, though. I always enjoyed him as a final boss in the game, but what can you do, right?
Yeah, that Angel Infinite is actually harder to do, too. I had some of the 2K, I had the 2K experts in Peru trying it, and a lot of them still can't get it. Like Chavo and a couple others that are really, really strong with her, they're having a hard time doing it. So it just takes some adjustment. There are a lot of bugs that have been removed in the game. That's the thing. But I just want to show people a different way of playing, because here's the thing: as great as 2002 UM is, it's still at its core is 2002. So that's going to keep them in the same mindset. My mentality is I need to show them different ways of playing games, so and they're going to get better because they need to learn these different styles. If they just stick with the same style, they're going to always play everything like 2002. And that's not going to work on certain games. Certain games, you cannot play them like 2002, and that's what I'm trying to show them, because they're very talented. Talent's not the issue. It's technique, and that's what I tell Benny and them. I knew you were talented. That's why I give you an opportunity. I see what y'all are doing, but it's technique. And about that, there are some people that hate KOF 2002 in Peru because it's so dominant in Latin America, and that's what most people do. Oh, man, you have no idea. There are certain people like Gio, for example. He's like the #1 player in KOF 14 for IOR. If he's playing Battle Coliseum or another game, he refuses to use KOF characters. And that's because of the fact that he's so tired of everyone. That's all they play is KOF. So if he's using some of those games, he refuses to use KOF characters. Or in Latin America, some people, they really don't want to play KOF because it's treated like the Street Fighter. They look down on if people that play other stuff. So you have that element very much alive in Latin America as well. And I can appeal to these people now because they see I'm not just doing KOF, I'm doing other stuff. Without care. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play Neo Wave, I'm going to play this. I don't care. So,
it's funny you mentioned that, because in Dominican Republic, and I'm sure you know this, Mortal Kombat is king over there.
Oh, man.
Mortal Kombat trilogy is like
yes.
game over there. And
Venezuela, too.
Say again?
Venezuela, too.
And when Mena came around and, he was winning Street Fighter V with the way he did, a lot of Dominicans, it's like, geez, finally something besides Mortal Kombat. Listen, we all know what Street Fighter is. Let's not get it wrong. But the fact of the matter is that a guy from the island, from the country, he came over, he won a Capcom Cup, I believe it was, and then for a while he was dominating. It was just fun seeing something that wasn't Mortal Kombat. Now, mind you, Mortal Kombat is never going to go away in that country, and nothing wrong with that. But like you said, it's basically the same thing. But it is what it is. Let me ask you this question, man. How does a concept like Project Avengers comes around? How is it that you just one day sit down, think about what your next move is going to be, with your little company there, and listen, you already know. You told me last time you're done with KOF 2K2. There's nothing else to be proven. You know, I know you have a few things out in Pakistan. You're trying to fly out some people over to Japan. You know, take us through that, through an organizer's mindset. Now, mind you, you know, everybody's going to be like, well, I mean, he's not really an organizer. He's doing really low-scale stuff. It's still organizing, whether some people like to admit it or not. But how does something like this come about? Because, like you said, man, you're putting together a whole roster of games that, you know, some of these people down there have never seen. And by the way, guys, I also want to mention, he mentions a lot Peru, but he's talking about all of Latin America.
Right.
Peru just so happens to have the best pool of talent. Nothing against my Mexican brothers and sisters, Venezuelan, Guatemalans, Chile. It's just Peru has shown that their talent is way above everybody else's down there.
Right.
But again, man, how does a project like this come about?
Because of the fact that 2002, almost everything's been done. I mean, I even let Vegeta go to, and other people try to capitalize and do something we haven't done, and they still couldn't do it. So, only thing left to do in 2002 is really pretty much Latin America versus Pakistan, a female cup, which we're looking at possibly seeing if we can do in January, depending on where I am, because I'm getting ready to get married in the next year, so we'll talk about all that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so as I'm saying, so I got a lot of stuff going on that I really haven't told people about this year. That's why I've been laying low, because stuff's been changing. So,
Guys, say, man, this is some first-hand information. So
yeah.
Don't say we never did anything nice.
Nope.
For you guys here at KPB.
Nope. I got engaged a couple weeks ago. So yeah. So stuff is changing quite a bit. So but yeah, I mean, there's not left to do. Vegeta versus Cabecina. Looks like we're gonna have to do that because I let them try to do it and they still failed at it. So I'm like, okay, that just says we're gonna have to do that. The remote battle.
Why did they fail?
Something about how Vegeta, I heard he did something when he was in Brazil and some other sponsor was doing it, and now they don't. They send him back to Peru. So it seems like we're gonna have to make. If we don't do it, no one else is gonna do it. Right. So we're gonna have to do the Vegeta. Yeah, I'm used to it. It's like we're gonna have to do Vegeta versus Cabecina. Give everybody that final send off. Versus everybody versus Pakistan or people versus Pakistan, and then a female cup. Females versus each other in 2002. That's really all there is to do. As I say, Shao has been beaten by Kula. Shao has been beaten by M-Dash. Taiwan's been beaten by Kula. So, if they've all been beaten by Kula, and Peru is greater than Kula, what left is there to do? Nothing. So, not with the rest of Asia. No. I look at that, I'm like, I could either rehash this stuff 500 million times, which is what everyone is trying to do. I'm watching them. They're trying so hard to rehash that Glory Day. Or I could put that to the side and say, hey, let's move on to these other things. There's so much other stuff out there that we could be focusing on. Look at these new games coming out. Hell, even KOF 15 is about to come out in February. Because shouldn't y'all be dedicating to that? We haven't seen any Peruvians at EVO mainly. We've seen the Mexicans, some Chileans. We haven't seen the Peruvians or Brazilians. We haven't. So let's get, since you all are really the talent of Latin America, we need to showcase you all and get you all up to these places. Let y'all see what y'all can do. Just, bear with me. I'm human. I got my own stuff going on. But I'm going to try to do the best I can. We even got Colombians. So just, that's how it comes about. And so I look at all these games. 98 UM. Let's start with something they're familiar with because they know 98 well. Even Neo Wave because it's so close to 2002. They just need to learn a new technique. And I think it's new technique that I know is going to serve them well. They need to learn just defense. They need to learn how to parry and third strike. They need to learn that. That's technique that they have never learned because they're playing 2002. They're not going to learn that playing 97 to 2002. Any game they play, they're not going to learn the technique of how to parry or just defense. They don't even play Garou, most of them. So they need to learn that. I'm just trying to think. There's so many different things that they can learn. Right. So many different things that they can learn just from picking up in those 6 grooves. That's just technique that they've never been taught. That Asia is already advanced because they already know that. So they may have the skill, but they need to learn the technique so that when they finally get caught up and they're playing these games, they'll be ready. They'll know the technique and they'll be able to bring something new to the table. Like Benny is doing in Battle Call C with Washizuka right now. That's because he feels confident. He knows the system. He's bringing something new to the table, which is what I knew they would do. So I'm giving them the opportunity to bring something new to the table. And now Battle Coliseum is having its own kind of revival. That's kind of what I want to do with each of these games. Give them its own kind of revival and keep going. So
let me ask you this before we go on. You just had a whole bunch there. And like you said, you have your own things in life going on. I believe the last time you were on the show, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you said, you don't know how much longer you're gonna be doing this. Like, hey, listen, you want to move on in life. You're gonna get married. Maybe you'll have some kids in the future. But and you also said you try to let them do it on their own, and you're just like sitting back and realizing, man, it's like you guys are kind of failing putting anything together. And well, it's not rocket science. It's just, I guess, some people just can't come together to put things together properly. But since we are talking about your future organizing this event, does it bother you that you're pretty much the head of the table? You seem to be the only one who's able to put these things together. I mean, I've talked to Athena, and she's kind of like your liaison down there, but she mainly still plays 2K2 excuse me. She mainly organizes and directs and possibly gets back to you regarding stuff for 2K2. But does it bother you, man, that you don't have somebody that all the stuff that you've done throughout the years, it seems nobody has caught on to be, like a proper organizer of like even small little things for it cannot be hard to put together a first to 50, first to 30 in 2K2. Does it bother you, man, that you're the one who has to take everything by the horns and lead everybody down there? Or are you just so used to it that it doesn't even bother you anymore?
In 2002, they're trying to copy me. It's extremely clear. If that's what you see on 5K, they're trying to. They've brought Vegeta up to Mexico about 2 or 3 times already. And again, I mean, it's so I see it. They're trying to arrange Vegeta versus Cabecina. They try get Mono up to Mexico and stuff. So they're doing stuff. It's just I always have to lead the charge.
Why do they fail?
I don't know. It's just they're too some of them are too competitive with one another, that they don't understand unity, or they don't have the vision. So they don't have the vision, and they don't know what it takes to put stuff together, because everybody they're so envious of each other. And that's kind of how a lot of them are.
More along the lines of they just have too much of a competitive mindset instead of an organizer's mindset, because anybody who's done both knows there's a big difference. When you want to dedicate yourself to be an organizer, you have to take the competitive side completely out of it unless you're competing with another organizer. Whereas these guys, you basically said, these guys and girls, they're all competitors. And like Athena has told us, like you've told us, and how we've read all over the place, let's be honest here, Mexico and Peru players do not like each other. Especially because of something that you mentioned last time. Mexicans look down on Peruvians. So basically, that's what you're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, and then they're still trying to live that Mexico. They're still trying to beat Peru in 2002 right now. I promise you, they're still trying to beat them in Peru right now. So I mean, I could just keep trying to do that, or I can just say, you know what, let y'all do that, and I'm gonna move on to something else. But they're so competitive, trying to prove that they can beat Peru. They don't see anything else. They miss the big picture, and that's just where they are. They're stuck in this world that I created years ago with the Salado versus Buchecha stuff and Kula and all that, and they can't seem to see past that. Not even for KO15. Some of them they're stuck in that world that I created, that matrix that I created. Basically, they're stuck right in it. They can't seem to escape it, and that's basically what I see for a lot of them.
Before we get on to a little bit of Project Avengers, let me ask you this, because this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today. The open beta happened a few weeks ago, and this upcoming weekend there's going to be another open beta for 15. With 15, well, first of all, how did Latin America receive KOF 14? Because I know 13 was very beloved down there. I mean, 13 in general was such a great game.
Right.
And, they have, 13 has, I wouldn't want to say as rabid a fan base as 2K2, but
nope.
13 does have some toxic community, little pockets of it.
Right.
We all understand why. But how did Latin America receive KOF 14?
It took a while for it to really catch on because they didn't like the graphics. Because of the graphics.
Same reason over here, man.
Yeah, so it took a while for them to take it seriously and stuff. But after they saw a lot of the videos, and, again, that was the time when I was sending people too. So I sent Kula to play ET, and that just kind of really helped to kick stuff off, because they brought Kula to Colombia, or brought ET to Colombia. And I said, I'll match it. I'll send Kula to Colombia. We'll make a big event, do stuff out of it. And then people were like, wow, Kula's Angel's really good. And so, they wanted to see Kula versus Shanghai and M-Dash and stuff. And then remember, I sent Kula to Japan. So that helped set it off, took it to another level, because they saw Kula versus M-Dash. And they saw M-Dash beat him the first time, and then they saw Kula beat M-Dash in KO14. And never mind you, MDAS was the world champion at this time. So all that stuff had to like put gas on that. That like got the KOF 14 flame really going in Latin America until I got so caught up on all the other stuff, trying to finish 2002 and all this other stuff that I couldn't really keep that flame going as much. But it still kept going a little bit. But for 15 is much more well received, for obvious reasons. It's like they're appealing to 2002 and 98 by bringing back the Orochi characters and Chizuru and Vanessa. I even saw the leak for Vanessa and all that stuff. So it's like they're trying to appeal to the 98 and 2002 players. So that's I already see that being much more well received right now. Plus better graphics.
Yeah, well, is the beta going to be available in those countries this weekend as well? I don't even know.
I haven't. I couldn't keep up with. I saw the thing yesterday. I just didn't get to read it, so I don't know. But there was a date when it's going to be available. But I don't know if it's going to be available in those countries. So that's the thing.
What are the early thoughts about it?
I think it looks pretty good so far. It looks pretty interesting. I was catching an eye on it. It does look like it has some of the same mechanics as 2000. It's not 2002. It's 14. But a lot of things they were complaining about 14 was that it was too beginner friendly with the one bar activation. So it looks like they took that out. They listened to that complaint from people, and because of that, I think people are starting to like. They're liking what they see. They're liking what they see so far. So.
Latin America, you mentioned something returning to EVO, and in general, let's be honest, returning to the U.S. circuit, the world circuit. Are we? Can we expect a much bigger turnout of Latin America, those Hispanic countries, maybe even some Pakistanis and everything, to show up like they did for KOF 13 when that game dropped? Because a lot of people, not that people forget, man. I mean, KOF 13 had a big presence in the U.S. circuit, man.
Right.
I mean, those EVOs had some of the best hype moments during those years. And it had a great mix of Latin America, American players, Japanese players.
Right, Korean.
Outside of the World Championship, man, those were as close as high-level pools as we are ever going to see. Could we expect... listen, let's be honest. With everything that's going on in the world, we all have to remember we're still not out of this pandemic.
Right.
So some of those people over there, some of the guys and girls over there may have some... Maybe they don't want to leave their countries. Maybe travel restrictions.
Right.
Maybe obviously you have to be scared, man. This thing is ravaging the world. But
Omicron.
Omicron sounds like a video game every single time.
right.
It does, right? Like some hack and slash game. But from anything that you're hearing, are some of them really going to be trying to go hard to make it to the next EVO? I mean, especially when this game drops. It's expected to be at EVO. Are any of them talking about possibly making the trip? Are you going to be helping any of them make the trip over?
See, that's the thing. That's why I'm trying hard to get do what I'm doing right now, because it's kind of like what you said. If I don't take the initiative, that stuff's not going to happen. I mean, let's think about KO 13. Let's go back. Had I not sponsored Bala and Romance to go to the final round, this whole story would have a totally different slant. You all may not even know who Bala was.
Yeah.
You may not even know who he was.
No,
so it's the same thing. I see the initiative, but I have to I got to help them with their visas, and I got to help them with all this stuff. And so I know if I don't do it, there are a lot of these people are not going to get there. And we might miss on another Mysterio. I mean, think about that. I paid for Mysterio to go to NEC, and you know about him now. So it's Mysterio, Luis Cha, and keep going down the list. Kula, I can just call in all these names now that people know. Mono, Toshi. It's just I have to. If I don't do it, it's gonna be hard to believe that some other people will. Arslan Ash, he got lucky and got with Red Bull and other people after winning Evo and stuff, so he's able to do stuff. But most people aren't gonna get that type of help. So what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to put myself in a position with my business so that hopefully by the time of Evo, I'll be able to help people and not blink an eye. But I got to do that and get married or plan for marriage. So it's tough right now. So I've got to kind of do that, plan for marriage, get back in shape to compete at Evo since I'm playing as a player, and organize stuff. So that's why people don't see me as active right now, because I got a lot on my plate that I'm trying to juggle, and I want to hopefully start it at the right time. So.
And you know what, by the way, man, it's not just only, man, because of Lucas, we know who Bala is. We know who Mysterio is. You also helped them out, development-wise. Some of these guys may possibly have never gotten out of those countries.
Nope.
They're able to see a different part of the world where video
Right.
gaming, is accepted in culture and society.
Right.
We had Kane Blue River, and you know who he is.
Marvel champion, right?
Yeah, Marvel champion. I believe he's
Right.
from Chile.
Yep.
And it was very revealing, man. Some people got to remember those countries down there. They look at video gaming, at least, like the established society. They look at it as if it's a complete joke. And this,
Right.
This kid, he's a Marvel champion. He's
Right.
literally traveled the world. He made his living playing video games. But in those countries, it's just a completely different mindset.
It's a hobby, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a hobby. What, you play video games? What the hell are you doing, man? Go become an accountant. Go do something that's
Right.
actually going to help out society.
Right.
So not only did you expose them out to the competitive gaming world, you've actually also helped them out, opening up their minds. Seeing the world, just a different view of the world instead of, unfortunately, the campos or wherever it is that they came down there, those very poor places. So,
Right.
a lot of them owe a lot of gratitude to you.
Right, because I'm not about them just staying with LDA or whatever. I look at it like, hey, I can get you, I see what you got. Allow me to offer you some assistance and, help you get where you need to be. Like even Vegeta, same thing, right? Allow me to help you get where you need to be in life, wherever that is, so, and I'm fine with that because I feel like that's what I'm here to, partly what I'm here to do. I feel strongly with that. So that's why I feel like it's time to come back to that, especially with one of my organizers, recently dying in Ecuador. That told me I definitely need to finish what I started. Yeah, it told me I needed to finish what I started because he wanted to get Shanghai to Ecuador because there's no visa for Ecuador for Chinese. So that was one of the things he talked about. And so whenever that happened, So whenever it happened, I said, romance, man, we gotta make this happen, man. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Time is changing. I'm getting ready to get married and stuff, but we gotta make this happen, man. In this guy's memory, at the least, because this is what he wanted to happen. So we need to take it. We need to make it happen. So kind of the reason why I want to make sure I'm gonna come back because I feel like I have unfinished business, and that put it over the edge. I was like, I definitely got to finish this 98 saga up. So.
And you know what? I'm looking at the bigger picture now. You're about to get married, and like you said, you feel like you need to come back ASAP to do something. Listen,
right.
man, I don't need to tell anybody in this podcast who's married. Half your time to your hobbies to everything else gets taken away. You have a significant other. And you said it yourself. You didn't get around to organizing a lot of stuff for KOF 14 just because you have so much stuff happening in your life. With this new game dropping, I'm sure between KOF 15 and Project Avengers, with the looming idea that you're going to get married, you're trying to get back to the community as much as possible, get back to these players as much as possible.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, with knowing that, you're basically full steam ahead, right?
Yep. Plus, as a player, I'm coming back because that's what people are saying. It's
you are.
They've all, as I said, people have forgotten. They've forgotten. They've used to team the organizers. They've forgotten that I can play. I'm like, I'm going to remind y'all that. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm like, let me remind you all that I can play, and especially in Battle Coliseum, I'm pretty high up there. So that's what I remind people because I'm going to Evo to organize, and to play. So I'm going to be looking for Japanese, etc., to challenge in Battle Coliseum, etc. So I'm trying to get back in top shape. And the irony is the guy I'm with right now, he lives really close to my fiance. So it's convenient. So it's like it's very convenient. So I said, you know what? I'm with my fiance every weekend anyway. He's 20 minutes up the street. So I already told her, I said, hey, I'm going to come stay with you, but certain day I'm going to come play with him once a week or whatever because we got to get ready for Evo. And so it works. So plus our son's a gamer. So it always works. It works. It works pretty well. So.
Well, with you being, with you going head full steam as an organizer for Project Avengers and KOF, and also being trying to get back to being a full-time gamer, let me ask you this first for KOF 15. What are you expecting out of the game as a player? What are you expecting the longevity of the game as an organizer?
As a player, I'm expecting both. I can speak on both. I expect the longevity of the game because I know they're going to keep adding DLC and they're going to keep tweaking stuff if it's really broken.
Yeah, that's the way of the world in gaming these days.
I expect it to last longer because I know that's how it's going to be. The way it looks so far, I think it's going to have a better reception than KF 14 from the beginning because it looks really good. The graphics are much better, Right. And it seems more hardcore, and they got a cast that caters more toward the hardcore cast. So I expect it to be very competitive from the beginning. I expect KO15 to be honest. I expect it to come out pretty firing, pretty much for quite some time. And so I just want to be able to.
A much longer run than KOF 13? Because again, KOF 13 had a nice, fun little 2 or 3. I want to say maybe 2-year run, 2.5-year run. Is this game? Are you expecting it to at least go farther than that?
I hope it would, but that seems to be the cap. KOF 13 seems to be the max that I've seen so far. It's even gone further than Samurai Showdown. So,
blame the netcode on that.
Right. But hey, KOF 13 didn't really have netcode either at that time. So.
Yeah, but KOF 13 wasn't mired by this whole,
absolutely
going on.
Right. So I mean, yeah, you have to kind of have it with the Samurai Showdown, right? So, but I mean, yeah, I'm hoping. I hope it does, but I got to remember we're in the United States, so I have to look at it from the lens of the United States. But that's also again why I kind of want to go full steam into the organizing, because I feel like I can bring a different perspective to it by having different events in different countries where those games are the primary, not the secondary. So.
No, definitely, man. Definitely. Listen, I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody that everybody's waiting for KOF 13, just waiting. Here, one of the guys for the team, he's trying to put together, he's doing a good job so far of putting together a little event that basically, I believe, maybe a week or two after the game drops, or maybe he's going to be doing it during the weekend of the game dropping.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to try to have like a big event, different territories in the U.S., and so far he's gotten a lot of confirms. And he's definitely going to be going deep into this game, especially here in the Northeast, because here in Northeast, especially New York, a lot of KOF pockets. In fact, this weekend, tomorrow, Romulus himself is going to have a KOF 15 beta tournament over at Brooklyn Video Games.
I know the place.
You know the place?
Yep. Me and Arturo were planning a couple of things for a couple of while. We were working with them, doing stuff back in the day. So. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
They actually took it further, and they got Esteban from Ciudad Juarez, Angel King, to come up. And I was like, if y'all get Esteban, he's gonna wreck all of y'all, because he's the original Angel player from 2002. So he's like the maestro for Angel. The Angel style started with him, and so they actually was able to get him from Juarez up to Brooklyn Video Games. And I was like, man, y'all get him up there. He's gonna destroy all of you, and that's exactly what happened. So.
Yeah,
because I played him.
I don't know if Brooklyn Video Games is the place where a lot of the Chinatown Fair regulars went, like people like Taliban and some of those other players.
I know him. Yeah, I know him. I haven't seen him forever.
Yeah, I forget if Brooklyn Video Games was the place they mainly, congregated after Chinatown Fair closed down. He was a really powerful player, man. He was really, really good.
I remember him so well.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time. Jeez,
me neither.
We're throwing out old names here. I remember watching. Now that we're throwing out old names, just to go a different direction real quick. It just reminded me of that player who, whenever you saw Mexico 2K2 stuff in like the early 2000s, you saw what's his name? Cannibal.
Yep.
What's he up to, man? Is he still around?
I got him. He just seems like he's been for a while, man. He's actually moved to Capcom, so he's been playing like the Street Fighter and stuff.
Nice.
Trying to go, because they have that move in Mexico too. But as you can imagine, it's flip. So Street Fighter in Mexico is like KOF in the United States. So that's how that is. But they've been trying to work on the. Yep, that's how it is. So they've been focusing on that movement to try to get it to the tours and stuff. Representing Mexico,
so that's freaking awesome.
So.
But anyway, again with KOF 15, everybody's waiting for that game to drop, especially the SNK community, and we're all hoping that the game has rollback, because as you know nowadays, that's the thing that determines whether a game has a life that has a lasting, longing appeal. At least here in the States, in Mexico, Peru, all those places, everybody is so.
They're gonna play it offline.
Yeah, they could definitely play offline. Not that New York has a big offline community, but it's just such a bigger country. Where I had Desmond on a few episodes ago, and even he said,
I know him.
St. Paul. Oh, you heard the episode?
Oh no, I haven't heard the episode, but I know him quite well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We actually mentioned you in that episode for a while there regarding you and a friend of yours from a while back. All your arguments you had in Sharuk, and I told Desmond.
It's either Dirty Work or Dojo Destroyer, one of the two.
Emil.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a quick little fun little conversation, but
Ha!
it is what it is. You're the one who
He actually told me he wished we actually spoke on Facebook. He's like, we actually had a heart to heart conversation. Like it's all like buried and done with.
There you
And
go,
see,
man.
when you can do that, you know 2002's over. You know it's done. So
Listen, man, that's great to hear. Like me and Desmond said, it was a different time, right, man? We were all
it was.
everybody at that around that age, they all fight about everything. But it's nice to hear, man, that you guys got together and had a cup of coffee and just just put everything aside. Putting KOF 15 aside now. Again, we're all just waiting for that game to drop. Beta drops this week, and I'm sure you're going to be playing it. Let's talk a little bit about Project Avengers, man. How is it that you picked the roster of games to be part of this project of yours?
I look at everything that I see that they haven't played from basically 92 to now, and I look at it like we have to cover this base. That's a monstrous assignment, but we got to take it one step at a time. And so I look at it, I'm like, hey, if y'all played these games, have you played these games? Or you have them, why don't you play them? Because everyone plays 2002. Aha, okay. So let's play it. I want you to be the judge. If you play the game and you don't like it, that's fine. But play the game. Give it a chance.
Concept, right?
Right. Even Neo Wave, give it a chance. You determine whether you like it or not. And lo and behold, they play it, and they're playing it at a different level. So people are seeing even Neo Wave at a different level because they're playing with a high understanding of 2002. So they're seeing it from a different perspective. So it's like, you know what? I still don't like Neo Wave, but hey, the way the Peruvians are playing it, I can watch it at least. Or they might play this another game that people may not think of, and it's the same thing, Double Dragon or something. They bring something new to the table. That's so these awesome. Games, yeah. So they bring something new to the table to these games because their style is so different, and that's what kind of I'm letting people see. They alone are helping to create a quote unquote multiverse, if you want to use Marvel terms. I'm creating a multiverse in these games instead of just having one in 2002. I'm picking all these different games and they're having their own universes. That's basically what I want to have.
And by the way, it's like you said it yourself, man. It's not as if you're forcing it on them. It's just like, guys, look, there's different worlds over here. Luckily for you, you have some players who just can't stand 2K2.
Right.
They have vanilla 2K2. It's just so easy for me to say 2K2 because that's the one I always play. But not only are you bringing it into their eyeballs, you're also bringing their talent. Peruvians, as you've mentioned before, and a lot of people have said, because it is such a small community compared to Mexico. Their top players play with each other all the time, so they all have the talent. So now what you're doing is you're introducing new games to this environment. And it's like, look, guys, I mean, do the games play differently? Yes, but they're still competitive games. They're still fighting games with a lot of things you still love. You love to play, and you're basically bringing this into the environment of. Let's see what the heck you guys could do. We already know you're godlike in this game. Don't get me wrong. We all know that. Let's see what the heck you could do in this game.
In this one.
Exactly. I'm moving forward with this. This is my plan. If you guys want to stay back and play 2K2 keep fighting with the Mexicans, have fun at it, I'm moving forward. And it seems like we've gotten a lot of really good feedback from the players you're trying to get this to go with, right?
Right, because we even started with Neo Wave, and they're talking about that, and then they're like, guys, Neo Wave is just one game. I keep telling them, Neo Wave is just one game. I mean, Neo Wave is the bridge, because that's what you understand. So like, I'm going to use Neo Wave as a bridge to show you some new concepts, and that's what I said I'm going to use it for. When you stick with it or whatever, hey, there's still 60-plus other games to go. And so we hit Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. That has a very high reception. I mean, Mexico's playing it. That has an extreme. I'm like, guys, this game is a great game that you all just haven't played. They're all been saying it. Like, this is a really good game. I'm like, I told y'all. So aren't you glad you played it? Man, yeah.
I'm sure I'll say it for you. Now that we mentioned before, now that 5K has the netcode that it does, the plugins, they have no reason not to touch the game. Even if you don't have more than 2 or 3 players who are playing it in your area, you literally have the internet. And with the rollback netcode that the system has now, you may have some of the crappiest internet, because I'm sure internet down there isn't as amazing as it is here.
Oh no.
The games still give you a chance to play it really good. Listen, man, summoning the Mortal Kombat head that we had on here, great guy, by the way. He lives in Switzerland, and he's able to play Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 on the internet. Now he doesn't like playing online games, man. This is a guy who grew up in the arcades. So
I understand.
The ideas of him playing online is silly, but he's he's a guy who lives in Switzerland. Okay.
Yep.
He's in Switzerland. And he's able to play those games perfectly fine with people from England, people from the U.S. So if he could do it, man, those people could do it.
You'll learn, and like I say, I use it. I tell people now that I've done it, I'm like, hey, use it as an opportunity to see different styles. Now I always study the replays on the different people's channels, all on YouTube all the time, to pick up new tricks, just watching them. But I'm like, it's different when you're playing against a person and you're seeing it live. You'll learn it. I think you'll learn it faster. So, even if that's just what I've noticed. You'll learn some tricks a little bit faster, and everyone brings a different style to the table. So just use it to do that and take your game to the next level while you're just sitting. Until we have some big offline tournaments, which they're coming eventually. But
right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. So let's review here for a second, just to give the listeners an idea. So you're gonna have Neo Geo Battle Coliseums. To me, every single time I see you, when you and your buddy there are streaming or recording, it seems that's the baby. That's the number one game you want to have showcased. After Neo Geo Battle Coliseums, what are the other games? I believe you said it's one of the Samurai Showdown games, right?
Samurai 6, because people are talking so much about Samurai 7. I'm like, y'all, I get it. Y'all playing Samurai 7, but you totally missed this game. And to me, this game is arguably the best Samurai Showdown, because you're talking about 60-something characters and 7 to 9 different grooves from all the samurais. So I'm like, I get it. Samurai 2019 is great, but they had to reboot because this game had everything. So they had no choice but to reboot Samurai 7 because 6 had it all. So I'm trying to show them that. KOF 11, Neo Wave, 2002 the Mortal Kombat games, we're going to hit those up, the old school. And so here's the thing. I can tell them to play the games, but I think it'll be more effective if I show them how I play the games. Because then they'll realize, they'll be like, wait a minute, he can play. That's right. As they're seeing the Battle Coliseum, ooh, he's actually pretty good. That's right. So they're seeing it firsthand, and then that's helping them to pick it up and learn it. Because I'm showing them different stuff in the game.
It also helps, man, that you have a big following. You've put your efforts into those countries. I'm sure you've gotten some looks at the beginning, but they saw eventually that you're really out there to help them. So you have a big following, and it's like, well, if Lukus is playing Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, hey, let's check this game out.
Right.
He's enjoying himself.
Right.
And maybe we could enjoy ourselves too. And look at that. Okay, it's not KOF. It's not. It has KOF characters. It has a lot of SNK characters, but it's a different game. Yes, there does exist things outside of regular vanilla 2K2. And that following that you've created basically is opening the doors for these games. And speaking of the games, and we're going to finish off with the list right now. All the games you mentioned, it's like you said, it seems to me that you don't want to include any of the newer games like Samurai 7 or,
Oh, I do.
But is that going to be further down the line for another project? Because it seems to me that Project Avengers is basically only focusing on those games from 15, like you said, between 15 the 15 years between 2K2 and whatever it is that you want to say, because they're much older games.
We have to break it in phases, and that's what I tell people. That's phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we got to go in the long haul. We got to play the long game here, because I don't want them to just play the game and skip to go to other just because they want to skip to KO 15. We can still play KO 15. I'm gonna play KO 15, but again, I tell them, y'all have all the talent in the world. What you lack is technique. So the technique, because you skip these games, you can't just skip from A to Z. You got to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and keep going. So I want to make sure they hit all these games and they learn it and they master each one of these games and they pick it up, because then they're going to see as time evolves and these games they're playing the more recent games, that technique is going to carry with them. And that technique is going to carry, because we're going to play even X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Technique's going to carry with them, so that whenever they play these new games, hey, I'm planning on beginning. Yeah, we're going to start with that. You're all going to see me playing that game. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, count on it. On a modded Xbox, I intend on it. That's going to be part of it. But again, that's going to help them to, when they get to these new games, then they'll be up to par with everybody else, because the technique they see is not going to be so foreign to them. Because the technique in the games today are based off of what you've seen yesteryear. they haven't played yesteryear, so how could they possibly understand it?
Right, I get what you're saying. Right. Oh man, that's awesome, man. That you're basically showing them. Let's catch up with everything first, because even though these games are much older, they're kind of like, do they have the same communities as Super Turbo? No, but thanks to renewed interest because of Fight, those communities are gonna, they're gonna come up. People sometimes forget these guys putting these plugins into these emulators. They're also bringing those communities together even closer than they have been before. I mean, Neo Geo Battle Coliseum didn't even really have much of a chance, because that game came out at a certain
2005.
time, at a certain time where fighting games were a little bit down. I mean, we had a machine here at Chinatown Fair, but not many people played it. It was a little bit of a different game, but like I said, fighting games in general during that time they just weren't holding eyeballs as much as they used to. You get what I'm saying?
Third Strike even took a while to catch on. So
yes, it did, and obviously that game had a lot of backlash because we're all the Street Fighter 2 characters outside of Japan. That just happens, right? But it's really cool, man, that you're doing that with all these players, man. It's like, listen, dude, guys, just get off of 2K2 for a little bit,
for a minute, right?
Like, this is
it ain't going nowhere, but your life is. That's what I tell them. You're getting older. 2002 is not. It's staying. It's going to stay the same. Yeah, it's getting older. You can say, but it ain't going nowhere. You are.
Yeah. So, you know what? It's like the Marvel 2 crowd. I know a lot of those players from here. It's they love their game, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Nope.
Although I think they're a little bit more open to playing other games compared to KOF 2K2.
Understood.
Players. That's just me, though. That's what I think. You're basically affirming that for me because you've seen it over there.
I can see the concepts in Marvel translate to Melty Blood, Guilty Gear, a couple other stuff. So it's so I can see that.
Definitely. So, again, we already covered Neo Wave, Neo Geo Battle Coliseum, Samurai 6. What other games are you planning on having at this roster, man?
KOF 11. I'm playing it. I am playing it, getting ready to make my comeback on it, because I want to be the example. Now, I don't play it like I used to. If I did play it like I used to, I know what I'd have to do. I would have to travel to Mexico like I used to. Juarez, I had to go to Puebla, go to these other countries, go to these places and train. But I want to be the example in that game, because I told people, I'm like, hey, I got second at an Evo in KOF 11 and I won one. So I want to be the example and say, hey, even in the KOF, you should play this game. The concept it has in it is great. And if they made an NGBC2, I think this is how they should do it. And so again, I want to be the example. Right. And I want to say, hey, I'm willing to go to Evo. I'm willing to challenge Shanghai, ET, M-Dash, Mad KOF in KOF 11, win, lose, or draw. Just again, show you all, help revive that scene again. Because they see that, they're gonna go crazy. And then don't heaven forbid if I land a duel on leader combo on Shanghai, man, it's gonna be good. They're gonna go crazy. So I'm already picturing how all that stuff's gonna go. Now how that scene is just gonna explode. Just from all that, I'm picturing all those possibilities. And so we keep that going. Plus Fightcade and KOF 11 is gonna be on fire like never before, because you have all this different stuff that we just didn't have back then. We didn't when I was doing KOF 11 tournaments. We didn't have Shanghai or M-Dash or ET or Korea. We didn't have them there. So imagine all these people now there. It'd just be crazy, nuts. So,
what other games, man?
I'm trying to think. All the World Heroes. I started Peru with World Heroes 2, so they like World Heroes 2 because they forgot about that game. And World Heroes 2 has a parry. It has a parry system, so they were able to learn the parry. I was able to teach them somewhat of a parry, the bounce back fireball, with that, and then show them that in Neo Wave. And so they were able to understand that concept from just showing me them at its basics at World Heroes 2. World Heroes 2 Jet, World Heroes Perfect. I've showed them all the Samurai Showdowns now because they've only really played 2 and 7.
Yeah,
so I'm
2
showing
and 7, yeah, because 2 was
that's
all over the place.
Right, so I'm showing them 3, 4, 5 special, and 6. So I'm showing them all that, of course. Last Blade, 1, 2. I'm showing them that game. So I'm like, you learn Last Blade, you'll get really good at your reflexes.
Right.
Third Strike.
Definitely
Third Strike. Get good at your reflexes with Third Strike. Very good. You're going to learn how to parry. Very good. We're going to go to Garou very soon. So I'm going to show them that. I'm trying to think. Mortal Kombat.
Real quick, before you go on, Third Strike. I remember, maybe you know this character, or maybe you could correct me. I was watching a stream a while back, man, and there was a player from Mexico. I think his name was Also. Do you know who that is?
I don't know that name. Mm-mm.
Huh, okay, I wanted to see if you knew because I knew he was Mexican, and they were playing the what was it, the PS3 PS4 port or whatever it was for Counter Strike, the one that had the GGPO on it. And he was wrecking everybody, even some top Asian players. I just wanted to see if you knew who he was.
I don't recognize the name off the top of my head, but I'll look him. You gave me some homework.
There you go, man. Well, you get back to me on that one. But anyway, yeah, man. Let's keep going.
Sure. So I'm trying to think. What else? We're Tekken Tag has a huge following in Peru because Peru is the world. They're the world champions in Tekken Tag. They beat Korea. Go figure. They better than Korea in Tekken Tag. So yeah, I've been tapping into that. I'm looking at that as the new 2K2 because it's showing very similarity. So I'm getting into the Tekken some. Look at Tekken 7, getting some of these people to play that, and we're gonna go Soul Calibur. We're gonna hit all the Soul Caliburs. We're gonna hit the Dead or Alive, the newer games. Y'all are gonna start seeing videos of me streaming with the newer games. We've had this plan for some time. Just stuff will fall apart from time to time, but you're gonna see that me playing these newer games and and getting down on them, so they can show people can see the best of both sides, the retro and the current, and all the stuff in between. I'm trying to think.
As an organizer, man, logistically, what are you looking at here? Are you going to be providing the majority of the systems and monitors? Are you going to be renting out centers? Take us through that.
My objective is with the business plan that I have. Once my business plan gets in place, I'm not worried about resources. And that's basically how I'm going at it. That's the plan I have from the beginning. I'm working on something right now that once it finalizes and I get myself where I want to be, I'm not worried about resources. So I'd be able to do this on a macro level, major macro level, like an Evo or something. And that's basically what I've been focusing on. And so I just got to stick the course right now and not get sidetracked by, the too much gaming stuff right now, so that whenever I do plan my official comeback, that's how it's going to be. And that's why it's been so long, because I wanted to be at that point where I can come back and do it at a macro level to where I can be like, hey, Shy, come to Brazil. Done. And that's how I want to be. So
are you trying to make this an annual event?
Oh, more than annual. I wanted to be all the time. I wanted to be more active, very active. I wanted to be where if I wanted to just on the drop of a dime, take an idea and do it in a big country, I want to be able to do it, Because before I had to plan and, plan the money and set it aside, I wanted to be at the point where I don't even have to think about it. It's at a drop of an eye, it's done. And that's the point where I'm close. I'm close to getting to. I just got to stick the course, and things will be at a level where it has never been before, and that's how I want to be. And I want it to be comfortable, super comfortable, and that's why I'm taking so much time away. So I want to be to where it's not even gonna cost me nothing. It'll do something at that level. It'll be a blink of an eye.
Two-pronged question here: how many countries are you trying to get this involved with, and have you chosen a host country where you're gonna be basically doing the biggest event?
The host country, that's gonna be depending, especially with COVID. It's gonna very fluid. So right now I've got to kind of watch the situations and see what they are, because some countries cannot go to that other country for restrictions, as you said. And I've seen that. So I've got to kind of be fluid right now and put stuff in multiple countries right now, taking into consideration the fact that some people can't travel. Because there's going to be some players, as y'all have seen, that can't travel. And that might be the very person that wins the tournament. Ours and Ash, Bala, Mysterio, etc. That's how they come about. So I'm willing to do stuff in all these various countries so people can see how these different matchups that they would never have seen before. So.
What kind of network do you have, man, of people helping you out with this? Because obviously this is a large undertaking. First of all, the amount of games that you want to have in this, and then of course the amount. The way you operate, the amount of countries that you're going to want to have operating. Now, mind you, a lot of people will look at it as like, oh, he's only going to be bringing one player from China. He's going to be bringing one player from Vietnam. Regardless, I'm sure there's a lot of players who want to have that opportunity.
Right.
So you're going to be bringing a lot of countries together because sure, Shanghai may be the best player in China, but he's not the only SNK KOF Street Fighter player. He's not. So what kind of network have you built up over the years?
Quite a bit. I've got people from all the different hotspots pretty much that are just waiting. like I said, I was telling people, part of my honeymoon I'm planning is to be in Japan so that I can take me, Benny, to go challenge the Japanese and then Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. And so the guys have already said, they're going to keep Tudo-san has basically already told me he's going to keep those guys playing so that whenever I come, we'll be able to play. So, I mean, I feel like I can go to, Japan, Taiwan, China, in Europe, anywhere in Latin America, and organize stuff. So I feel like the connections I have are to where I can basically just call the people up and they're ready. I've got people telling me now still, let me know, hey, I'm ready to organize stuff for it's time. They're ready to go. So it's just a matter of when I want to set things in motion, and then the dominoes will start falling. And it'll be nonstop like it used to be. Nonstop. It'll be chaos. And I know that. That's why I haven't started back yet, because I know once that first domino goes, it's going to be nonstop. I'm going to be immersed back in that world again. So.
Question regarding your networking, man. The U.S., do you have any networking partners here? Or
yes.
Oh, okay then. So will the U.S. itself be, very much involved? Do you want it to be involved with this project of yours?
Absolutely, especially Battle Coliseum, because we're one of the top 2 in the world. So even though it's a different, the Triad is no longer. I don't think they're playing. So the landscape of the tops for the NGBC in the U.S. has probably changed dramatically. Probably with myself at the head. Justin doesn't even want to play. I put a post on Justin Wong's Twitter telling him if he wanted to play, asked if I would challenge anyone to Battle Coliseum. He has not responded. So it's like I have to recruit these new Battle Coliseum people again. But the NGBC here is where, between us and Japan, we're like top 2 in the world. So I definitely want the USA to be involved. And Peruvians are seeing it. They're like, hey, USA is good in this game. I'm like, yeah, I told you, we are. So we just got to get these old heads to come back up. And, this is going to be a rivalry that people wouldn't have saw coming. USA and Peru. So.
And the only reason I, worded it that way is because if anybody's followed you in the last decade or so, they know that you really haven't put much effort into the U.S. scene because all your efforts have been down south. And listen, right. that's what you wanted, and you're able to you have been able to successfully do what it is exactly that you wanted it to do for a while there. So right. I'm sure a lot of people just had an idea like, hey, what's he going to do for the U.S. or what's he going to do for the U.S. scene? But like you said it yourself, you're just trying to get these old heads outside, to come out and play with the world and everything like that. And it seems so far that everybody's loving the idea. What kind of feedback have you gotten from Project Avengers? Very
good feedback so far, again, because these are games these people, they keep telling me, they're like, hey, these games never reached our country. That's what they're telling me. And so I'm like, they never got it. So I'm like, and I mean, I've got people in different arcades, even in Peru. They're like, man, they're always hitting me up my inbox. Like, bro, I see what you're doing with Sammy's our arcade Aquaman. When we're gonna do business, man, set us up. All these different arcades in Peru, set us up, man. We want this set up too. We want to play these games too. So it's catching steam. It's growing and growing and growing. And once I put myself in a different position where I want to get at, I want to be able to help all these other people, but make it comfortable because I still got to get ready to get married. So it's not like I can just devote all my money to the game anymore. I've got to get ready to get married. So I've got to pace myself, and that's why I haven't been as active. I've got to stay patient. I got to pace myself. I got to catch up with stuff from previous events, slowly get myself back up there, and then, hit go before I can just go full speed back into the organization like I used to. So we got a lot of stuff to catch up. Videos from the old events and stuff that I just let go for a while. There's so much stuff that I still need to do before we're actually ready to start doing an event. But I trust in due time we will be there. So there's patience.
You're doing a great job giving everybody a great insight of what it is that you're planning. Let me ask you this, man. It's such a weird landscape, the gaming world right now, especially with COVID. All this stuff happening. You yourself said it that you're going to be getting married soon, and that's a big decision in life.
November next year, so far.
The FGC in general, I don't even know. Do they even mention the FGC? Do they consider it the FGC down there in those countries, or is it just their own thing?
Their own world, man. They're on their own world, literally. They are. I mean, again, they didn't even see anybody else's world until I let them know there was one out there. I mean, Mexico thought they were the best in the world until I showed them Peru. That's how it all went down. And Brazil and all this other stuff. So I knew day one they were better than Asia. I knew that much from what I saw, but they thought they didn't see anybody else. So they're in their own world. So
But let me ask you. Let me ask you this one, man. And again, it's just another one of those things that I'm referencing back to the first episode, guys. If you want, listen to that episode from previously. It was a lot of fun with Lukus. Talking about all his adventures down there. But now that I have you here regarding Project Avengers, you put it out on the table today. You're going to be doing this for multiple countries. You have your networking. You're going to get married. You have a lot of things in life going on. And like I said, the gaming world is so much more different nowadays than it was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And listen, man, I've never dealt with them, but you've told me yourself you're dealing with a lot of egos in these countries, especially down south. Yeah, exactly. Let it out. But how is it, man, that you're finding the motivation, how you finding the energy that you want to deal with all those characters, with all those egos, with everything, man? Like, where is it that you find this? Where is it that you find all this energy, this power, man? Do you do yoga or something? Do you just relax your mind and you realize what it is that you're getting into, and you do it because you love it? Give us a few, give us a little bit of tidbit about that, man, about yourself. How is it that you just say, you know what, or do you just say, I'm going to do it? I know what I'm dealing with here. I know the kind of people I'm dealing with. It's not that they're bad people. It's just their egos get in the way.
They're misguided.
They're misguided. I mean, how do you find the energy to keep doing it?
Because I look at it like this. If I even show them something, I've helped them mature as an individual. Like, even Kula, despite the type of person he is, he's far less arrogant now than he was back then. And he's a complicated character, but I guarantee you, I've taught him so much in his life that he's grateful for. Because he learned now, he's not the be all end all. Not even in 2002. So he's learned the world doesn't revolve around him in that. So that's up to, when you do that and you humble people like that, that helps them to grow as an individual. So all these people that think they can beat Shao Hai, I want to help them grow as individuals, because I know in the end they'll thank me for it, and they're going to come back stronger. See, when they see that they're not the end all be all, what happens is that motivates them to train. That motivates them to stop being lazy, stop being complacent. It's like if you see your lady talking to one of your friends, or she's hitting on someone else, or she says he's cute, and she's hot hitting on him. That's gonna get you in high gear. That's gonna make you stay on your A game. It's the same thing. You can't feed a dog that's already hungry. You can't feed a dog that's already eaten. So you got to keep that dog hungry. And that thing is, I want to keep you hungry because I want to make sure you get beaten. So I want to put you in front of someone that I know is going to beat you, because then I know that's going to get the best out of you. So I make sure that first. I'm going to make sure you lose. So I told Kula, I'm going to make sure you lose, and then I'm going to watch you grow from there. Otherwise, what can I teach you? What can I teach you if you're the gods? Even Peru, I had to have them lose a little bit to Mexico, even though they're better than them. They had to lose to Mexico. They're like, oh my God, Toshi, #1 in Peru for a while. He lost to Bart, and he still can't beat Bart. Man, Toshi versus Bart is like 3-0 all-time Bart. He can't beat Bart. Do a matchup. It's a matchup issue. Bart beats him every time. So that's what I'm saying. Stuff like that they didn't even think about, and I've opened their mind to see that now. So just by mixing it up, Peru overall, yeah, they're better than Mexico. But within that, matchup-wise, Bart is greater than Toshi. So that type of stuff.
When can we start expecting to see, some announcements about dates and, locations for when you're gonna start project, fully started, physically started? Is it only gonna be offline, or since we now have Fightcade and GGPO available? Well, it's not GGPO, but it's something just as good. Are you only gonna be doing this offline, or is it gonna be a combination of online, offline?
I want to be a combination of both, and like I say, so I'm with my business right now. I'm tying up a couple of court documents and court paperwork and stuff that I'm finalizing. But once that stuff starts rolling in, I'm hoping around January, February-ish is when I can start making these announcements and start hitting stuff, and start seeing more activity. It's gonna start slowly. It's gonna trickle down from getting caught up from previous stuffs, because I don't want to leave no stone unturned before I start. So it's going to start off trickling from other stuff we need to finish, or other videos from other events that people haven't seen in a while. We're going to get all that cleared out first. Then we're going to go ahead into it, and we're going to go hard. So I'm hoping December, January, but I'm doing a lot of negotiations right now with my business, and I'm talking about big time contract negotiations. That I'm trying to line that up so that, again, when I come back, when I decide to put that point toward earlier, hopefully first quarter of 2022. I wouldn't be able to, I'd be able to do what I'm doing and not blink an eye. It won't affect me. It won't affect anything I'm planning to do with my marriage. It don't play with nothing. That's what I want to be. I want to be able to say, well, it doesn't affect my regular life at all. And I wouldn't want it any other way. So.
No, man, that's freaking awesome, man. That really, really is awesome. Hey, Lukus, man, I want to say thank you very much for coming on to the show again. You're always a fun talk to, man. I love talking to you, and especially thanks for coming in and sharing a lot of info regarding Project Avengers. This is going to be something huge, and it's always great. I mean, I especially love trying to get into the minds of people who organize events because I'm sure it's a very thankless job. It's one that you do for passion because this is your passion. Video games are your passion. Helping out Latin America and the other countries is your passion. That's what we've done for about 15 years now, man. Not many people could say that. Not many people could say that they've actually went into a region that's not their own, and by that, you're American. You had the access there to Mexico. You saw nothing was happening, and you started off with Mexico, and you've expanded your operations. Very, very, very expansive operation you have there. And again, man, I just want to say thank you very much for sharing some information with me. I really, really appreciate it. But before we go on, man, as usual, where could people reach out to you, man?
On Facebook, Facebook or YouTube. Facebook, my name is Lukus Allen, so LUKUS.ALLEN. If you type that in, my gaming page, you will see it has my logo or it says it has me and it says DarkGeese because that's my gamer tag.
Right.
And yeah, that's the one that y'all can add me on. I try to keep stuff there. I'm on Twitter now under the LDA Gaming. I use that one, the promotion division. YouTube is also the same, LDA Gaming and promotion division. Those are the main ones for now. Until I expand to webpage and all the other stuff, but
Instagram.
I'm eventually gonna go there. Yeah. Once it does that, I'm hiring somebody, so I can do something else. That's how I want it to be. I'm not gonna be able to do all that all the time. I just hire somebody. I need you to manage and run this all the time, so I can be on Maui or be in Japan training or something. So that's how it'll be. So
listen, guys, he's not gonna say it, but he joined Twitter because of me, because that's how we
get together. I did. And now I'm like, hey. I'm talking to Japanese and stuff there. I'm talking to Tudasan there all the time and all these other people. So I'm like, awesome. I'm glad I'm here. I'm meeting all these different people. And I'm like, hey, sweet. So that didn't even know play Battle Coliseum, and now all of a sudden they're looking at me, and I'm like, I issued a challenge to the United States and Canada to anyone offline to play me in Battle Coliseum. Nobody's accepted. So that challenge still stands. I say I'm about to go all the way down to the rest of South America. As I was telling Benny, I said, man, eventually I want to do a tour to some of these people that are playing so I can motivate them in Project Avengers more. I'll personally go and play with them myself just so we can motivate them to start playing these games more, and that's what it's going to take. So that and Japan, I'm about to issue a challenge to them too. So.
Hey, listen, guys, man, follow him on all his outlets. I'm looking forward to it. I like to keep up with what he's doing because I love watching high level KO. I feel it's a lot of fun stuff. But you know what? I like watching high level SNK games. I like watching any high level fighting game in general. But the stuff that you do, man, is so freaking awesome to me. Just because it's from a different perspective. It's not the U.S. Everything that happens here in Japan and other places is just plastered. And because I'm Hispanic myself, always like to see.
You understand it.
Yeah, just like to see La Raza, represented, man. Seeing all that técnica, como se dice, para allá abajo, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, guys, follow him, man. If you enjoyed this podcast, you're going to enjoy every update that he has regarding Project Avengers. And if you're a fighting game fan in general, you should be loving this because in the world of retro fighting games, yes, we know things like Super Street Fighter, Turbo. We know Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They're the kings here. But there's another world out there that takes some of those games to an even higher level, and it's so much fun to be seeing those games represented. But man, once again, dude, I really want to appreciate you coming onto the show, man. Really, really appreciate it, taking the time to talk with me regarding your project. And guys, again, man, follow him at his and all his social media outlets, and follow the show, man. Please type in KPBCast and all the major podcast outlets. Follow the Twitter page. Follow the KPB Twitter page as well, man. And we'll keep you up to date on following guest, and we'll definitely let you know when this new episode with Lukus is going to be out and about. But again, man, my name is KPB Rafael, host of KPBCast. This was Lukus Allen, the head honcho of LDA Gaming Division, and of course the organizer of the upcoming Project Avengers with all those great retro games. Lukus, man, once again, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. We're about to get some games in right now.
All right, man. Have fun. Dude,
Thank
was
you.
A lot of fun, man. Take care, guys.
Knockout. You win.
This has been a KPB Media Works production.